Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. So today I will be discussing how to budget in this video. I did a poll on Instagram and this one was highly requested. So this video will be a little bit lengthy, but I wanted to take my time and go through budgeting for beginners. I have loads of tips and tricks and options so you can figure out what method will work best for you. So if this interests you, keep watching, and everything that I discuss and mention and shown in this video will be down in the description box below. And let's get started. So the first step to building your budget is to understand your income and to appreciate your income. You have to appreciate it so it can appreciate. You see what I did there? So at the top of most budgets and also the budget template that I'll be providing to you, you're going to see that you're going to need to list all your sources of income. So you need this to be accurate so that your budget can be accurate. So when you're listing your income, this is going to include all your side hustles and if you have multiple jobs. Now, if you're a freelancer, you're going to want to use your lowest monthly income from your previous year to base your budget around. So if you have a month like that again, you can make sure to cover all of your monthly expenses with that lowest value. And then any higher months, you can use the excess to put towards other things such as your debt or savings. So now, if your job is seasonal, you're going to want to use the same month from the previous year. So let's say you make scarves, for example, and you're going to see a rise in sales during the winter months and maybe a decrease in sales during the summer months. So if you're going to budget for June, use June of the last year. That might be 4,000. If you're going to budget for November, use November of the last year, which might be 7,000. And that way your budget can be more accurate and more reliable to your situation. So what I want everyone to understand is that your income is your biggest wealth building tool. It is so devastating to work so hard throughout the month and then at the end of the month, you still don't have enough money or you have nothing to show for it. That is why I'm making this Get Rich with Ray series, and I'll be walking you through how I budget, and later on in a different video, I'll be showing you my journey to be debt-free, because those credit cards and car loan payments are not it. They are draining your income, draining it. So let's get into step number 2 of budgeting, and that is understanding your expenses and building a reliable budget. So the first thing I'm going to want you to do is to look back about 3 bank statements and see what your expenses are month to month. Do you have certain things that you pay monthly that are going to be the same value? Do you have certain things that fluctuate? And do you overspend in any of these categories? This is going to be imperative to building your budget and seeing how much you need to survive on a month-to-month basis. So in my budget template, you're going to see a list of categories, and then you're going to budget how much you're going to need for each category. Now, if you feel like you have an abundance of income and you still don't know where all your money has gone, then I would suggest when you're budgeting to give yourself an estimate value of what you think those bills are going to cost every single month, each category that you see in my template. That way, after your first month, you can then see how you did in comparison with those expenses and what you maybe need to add more to and what you can cut back on. So for example, in my budget, you will see that I budget $50 for my electric bill. Now I have paid anywhere between $25 to $40 each month. So with that 50, I feel safe in case a spike does happen, but I have an abundance of income to some extent, so I don't have to be too strict and I can give myself that little wiggle room to just feel comfortable, have a flat rate, and just pay the bill. Then whatever is left over, I can transfer into the following month in case I do have a higher bill. For example, summertime might have a spike due to air conditioning. Wintertime might have a spike due to heat. So I need to account for what my budget is going to look like and what that value is going to look like for those months. So after understanding your expenses and coming up with a rough estimate value of what you think each of those are going to cost you each month, what you're going to want to do is step number 3 and categorize your budget. I think this is so important in your budget so you can understand where you have wiggle room and what expenses are absolutely necessary for you to pay every month to make sure that your four walls are intact. Whatever you spend your money on, you're going to want to give it a name, give it a value, and then hold yourself and that item accountable to your budget. So this will be categories that you see to the very left of my budget template. First is going to be your fixed expenses. These are expenses that you pay every month and that are a consistent value and do not change too drastically. Such things like your rent or mortgage, your electric or utilities, your phone bill, health insurance, and such things like that. These are going to be the core items to make sure that you keep your life afloat. Next is going to be your variable expenses. These are expenses that vary month to month and are not really classified as a bill, but you do still spend a considerable amount of money on them. So these are things like groceries, gas, eating out, lunches throughout the week, and any personal items or personal expenses, which I classify as fun money. Also, I would include a miscellaneous line item of about $50 to $100 or whatever you think is reasonable for your budget and your monthly income to account for expenses that you may not have written down and that you may not expect. For example, I had to buy ink this week and ink is very expensive. But with that miscellaneous money, I was able to just use that and stick to my budget. This is also in case you go over in any other categories such as groceries and you still have that money to make sure that you're not overspending too much and blowing your budget out the water. You want your dollars to have purpose, so keeping your miscellaneous category to a minimum and also your overspending to a minimum is going to be key, especially for the next categories. So third on the list is going to be an important expense for some of you, and that will be debt payments. You may realize after budgeting that you need to cut back on other few categories that we previously mentioned so that you can make your debt payments, at least the very minimum. This may be cutting back on some of your fixed expenses that are a little more strict on your budget, but could also help you tremendously on a month-to-month basis, such as your cable bill. Maybe you can cut back on that a little bit. For our household, we just have internet only, and then we use F.I.R.E or other streaming services to account for cable. Other things may also be finding cheaper rent or also shopping around for cheaper insurance so that you pay less on a month-to-month basis, as your fixed income is usually going to be your largest portion of your budget. Next would be to also consider cutting back in your variable expenses, maybe not eating out as much, and maybe spending less on groceries as I needed to because I was overspending like crazy. Cutting back in these certain ways will cause you to be more disciplined in your life and within your financial budget. Try going to the grocery store with a list, only getting what's on that list, and also using cash. That will be a challenge not for the faint of heart. I've done it, and I try to go before I get to the store. I try to write down an estimate of what each value costs. I'm like, okay, eggs are about $3. Milk is gonna be about $2 for half a quart. This is gonna be maybe $3. And then I add it all up and I'm like, okay, this is around how much money I'm gonna spend on this trip. Because the last thing you wanna do is overspend and only have cash. That is why it's so important to stick to your list. Only get what's on the list, and that goes for everything. Now, last but not least will be anything remaining you can put to your savings. And this is going to help you build your future. Because let's be real, retirement is not an age, it's a financial number. So the sooner you can become financially independent, then the sooner you can start to live and do things that you choose to do. So after outlining your expenses, you may realize that you're spending more than you make and that there's really not much room in your budget to work things around. That is why on the left of my budget, and I'll show you on the screen, that you will see the percentage column, and that will show you the percentage of your income that is going to that specific category. So what you want to do then is compare your percentages to Dave Ramsey's guideline for how much of your income you should be spending in each category. So I have my laptop open now, and I want to run through the budget template so that you understand what to do each month and how to use it. So at the very top of my budget is my gross annual income. Mine is around $65,000, but I do get paid hourly, so I love overtime. I can choose to work a little more if I need the money and get paid a little more too. Next is going to be my monthly take-home pay. So I have my 2 paychecks that I get paid per month, and that is on a bi-weekly schedule. So I get paid twice a month. I get around $1,900 each 2 weeks, and that gives me around $3,800. So that is what I base my budget around. I like to work overtime on a consistent basis, sometimes more than others. So my expected income has been more around $2,000, but I still budget on the $1,900 just in case. So next is going to be the headings. So you're going to see the type that we mentioned: fixed expenses, variable, debt, savings. The categories, which you can always change to whatever suits your needs. And then the percentage of income, your budgeted value of your month, which is celled in right from over here. And then your actual amount, which is what you're going to plug in here in this table, what you actually got paid, and see how you line up to your budget. What you're going to want to do is put in what you actually did pay each month. So if you budgeted 50 but only paid 35, you're going to put in what you actually paid each month in that column. So the last column that I have that I wanted to point out was my over under column. And this will show you how much you were over budget and how much you were under budget. Now, let's start from the top. $800, for example, is my rent. Now, I share this rent with my boyfriend, so we both pay $800, and it's pretty affordable for us, and it's still within 25% of our rent / mortgage, which, if you could see from Dave Ramsey's suggested budget percentages, is your housing should be under 25% of your monthly income for a healthy budget. So each month I have $800 and I put 8. Therefore, my over / under is 0. I am on budget. Now, some of these values are just examples, along with the actual values are just examples, so I can really show you how the over / under column works. But they are relatively close to my monthly budget, but I will be going over my full budget in a later video and how I do it on paper. So if that interests you, stick around and hit the subscribe button. So for the electric column, I have $50 budgeted and I actually paid $35. Therefore, I am under budget $15, and that is why it's in green. So if you're on budget or over budget or under budget, on budget or under budget, it's in the green. So that was just to show you how everything works. All these you can fill in and they will adjust accordingly. Say you spent 20. There you have 10 left. Now I put pet care in my fixed expenses because they are my boyfriend's and I responsibility, and we each put $60 a month towards their pet care. With their pet food and everything, it is a must that we feed them. So if we go over budget and spend $70, that is going to put you in the red, -$10. You were over. Also, keep in mind these totals. This will give you an idea of how much you spend total on your fixed expenses and what is needed to keep your 4 walls intact, and then the total percentage of your budget that goes to that expense category as well. Next is the variable expenses. Same thing here. If I budget $80 for gas and spend $100, I'm over $20. Here is the miscellaneous category line item, and that has $50. So I can use that $50 to do whatever I need to do that is not listed here in these categories, or if I go over, such as in gas, I can always take that money out from my miscellaneous. Next is a category that I love and hate at the same time, and that is the debt category. I have student loans, and for example here, I put $500. Now, if I have $500 budgeted and I pay $600, I formatted that to be in green because that is great. You should pay more to your debt. You are not over budget per se. I would put you in the green that you're doing the right thing. Same thing goes for the following category, which is savings. If you budget $500 to your 401k and you put in $700, then that is awesome. You are over budget by $200, but you're still in the green for me. If you have a Roth IRA and you did $500 but only spent $4, but only put in $4, then I have you in red because you did not contribute as much as you were hoping to for that month. So last would be the remaining dollar amount values of your budget. So here you see I have an extra $50 at the end of the month, and I could always put that to my miscellaneous. That way every dollar has a place, and that will leave me at a $0 budget. That way I don't just have $50 floating around and then all of a sudden I spend it shopping. No. Use the fun money or budget more for what you think you're going to need, and then have maybe $80 and then $100 in your fun money and $80 in your miscellaneous instead. Do a budget that's going to be reliable to you and that you can stick to. So in the actual column, you're going to see I have a lot of monies left over, and that is because I did not fill out these blank cells. What I do love to do is take a few of these line items and cash them out of my account, because if I do not see my account at, let's say, my paycheck value, and I see only $20 or $30 that's only left for lunch throughout the week, then I do not want to spend too much money because I look and I don't have any, which is great. So I take out money for some of these categories and I put it in a cash envelope. That way I can just spend cash when I'm out on the road, and when the cash is done, that item is done. No more eating out, no more pet toys. I'm obviously gonna buy them food if they need it, but they don't need toys. Same goes for fun money. When that's done, it's done. So that really helps me because I don't always go back and put in my actual values, but I do have cash, so I know I didn't overspend. And then when I take it all out of my account, I know that everything here was covered and I'm living below my means. So in my real life, I don't do all this savings. I actually only contribute to my 401k at work $100 per paycheck, and then the rest goes to my student loans. So I pay anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 of my monthly paycheck towards my student loans, and that is because I want to be debt free, and then this whole value of debt and loans I can put towards my 401k and retirement accounts and just start building up wealth from there. I have nothing holding me back. I don't have to pay no one, and I can just start using my income for what I want to do in my future. So that is pretty much everything, you guys. I have each month down here, different months. These are going to be zeroed out so that you can enter your own values. So when it comes month to month, what you're going to want to do is take your budgeted column, Control C for copy, and then go to the following month and Control V or right click and paste those line items. That way you can have your same template repeat for the following month, change whatever you need to, and record those actual values as they may change month to month. And then last that I have here is this year to date. And this is an overall spreadsheet of each month and how much you're spending throughout the year so that you can check and see, okay, at the end of the year, I spent a total of $6,000 on rent. I spent a total of $420 on electric. I spent a total of $1,200 on gas. To me, that sounds kind of crazy, but it's what was needed. So if you see a column that, or a row that is very high that you maybe want to change or cut back on, this will help show you where all of your income went. And this will also show you your total income of what you made for that year. Because you may have a gross income of one value, but then your take home is telling you another one. So what I want you to do when it comes to your expenses, if you're really not sure where to start, is to do your homework and find some helpful apps. Like, for example, I use Personal Capital, I believe it's called, and that helps me track my expenses and also has little categories to show me from my account. After you link your accounts, it will show you how much you spent in food and how much you spent in other things. Other categories, maybe you have gas on your card. Then it'll show you how much you spent for gas in that month or whatever time frame that it's looking at. That way you can have a more reliable budget, an accurate budget for the following month. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this gives you the tools and the first steps that you need to properly budget your life. And I will be showing you also a paper method that I use in order to budget each of my paychecks by the way that my bills will fall for that month. And I think it's super helpful. I think you guys are going to love that video and find it even more helpful than maybe this Excel sheet. I did use Google Sheets so that you can have it on your phone and have it really accessible to you. But I personally love the paper method, even though this does all the math for you and gives you percentages and gives you all this information. This is great for like your first month so you can see what needs to change. But after that, I just love to do the handwork on my own and write down everything that's going on because some things are just better on paper. So this budget template will be in the description box down below. If you have any questions or need help altering the Excel sheet, just leave a comment and I myself or someone here in our YouTube family will reach out and help you get it sorted to your needs. So make sure to smash that like button if you found this video helpful. Comment down below any feedback and video suggestions and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.